A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast. Again, I have a guest with me. I'm not even going to begin to attempt to pronounce her name because, you know, I'm sensitive. People look at my last name and think it's Leonard, but it's Leonard without an O. And I had Chantal Landreville, which I had enough trouble with that name alone, back last February 23, February 7th, of 2024, Season 1, Episode Feb Special. I also had a dating episode, Season 1, December Special of Wednesday, December 6th, 2023, that dropped. That's why I got the other date mixed up. How do you actually say your name?
Julia Bystritska-Luz, but I'm also used to Julia.
Okay.
Who live in the USA, English-speaking countries.
Yeah, okay. So Julia it is. That name I can manage. And you are here kind of as a date expert today. Yes, we're going. Your audio is cutting in and out a little. Sometimes have trouble with iPhones. Hopefully, it won't be a problem through the whole episode. But people, if her audio cuts in and out, it's not just your equipment. I'm hearing that already during the attempted record. But a dating expert, matchmaker expert, so I thought I'd have you on. The first thing I got to ask right out the bat, something I asked Chantal during that episode, is it romantic or is it lame and cheap? And this won't work for me because I don't eat bananas, but to take a date to a sweet shop, get a banana split and 2 spoons to share. Is that romantic or is that lame?
You know, it depends on 2 people, what they actually like. If they both want to share that pudding with 2 spoons, like in one bowl, it's okay. They can be enjoying it. Or sometimes one person can be objecting it because for them, it can seem very cheap. Sometimes people don't want it, but if 2 people want to share that pudding, I think it's their thing and they should definitely do it. It all depends on likes, dislikes, and boundaries. What's a boundary for one person is not for another person. I think you've got to ask a date for what they actually want and listen to it. And they can give you tips, cues of what they want and how they would love to celebrate St. Valentine's Day with you.
A reasonable answer. But so I don't really have any other planned out questions in advance. As I explained before the show, I like to just hit record and we go and we just kind of have a conversation, ebb and flow, and wherever it goes, it goes. So what is something that you generally, because I don't generally like a show that it's the same boring, like when I go on a show to promote my books. Welcome to the book show. Tell us about your book. Those are boring, but let's kind of get the usual stuff out of the way. What generally, indeed, do you present and is a general theme over episodes that you indeed do talk about? That's a very bad phraseology kind of question, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
No, I think I do. Well, I generally met people from all over the world, and I help their relationship to develop. They come to my dating agency. They tell me what they're for, who they are, and how they want their relationship to be. And I match them with people that are the best matches for them. And with time, we choose the best option for this and this person. And then I help them to build a happy relationship together. As these two people are either from one culture, but men and women think differently, or if they're from two different cultures, it creates more problems because a man can get offended when a woman does something, but a woman may not even know about it. And the woman may get offended.
Yeah, vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah. And the worst thing is that when they're both silent and they don't have anybody in the middle that know about them. And if they don't have any common friend or if they don't have any common acquaintance, that's it. And sometimes women want men to guess what they're thinking about. I'm upset.
I'm glad you said it, not me.
Yes.
But you may, right. I mean, that's the obvious thing here. The obvious next question, the next point, communication. People are not mind readers. You're not a mind reader. The person across the table from you is not a mind reader. If you don't open your mouth and say how you're thinking and feeling, they can't read your mind. We've got to communicate.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be a great communicator. Yes, we all make mistakes in communication, but if you don't say it, if you don't spell it out, nobody will find out. And then you can be mad, and the man will go away just because he doesn't know how to make you happy. Or if a man distances himself from a woman and she doesn't know what she did, or maybe something from the past triggers that reaction in him. Then a woman may make a few tries, and then she may get tired of trying to find out, trying to read the mind of the man.
Oh, you're cutting in and out again. Say a relationship, what?
Has to be reciprocal. There has to be communication. People have to spend time talking to each other and reaching a compromise or reaching an agreement that will make both of them happy. And it's possible.
Yeah, I think you touched on another important thing there. Past relationships are past relationships, and we all have baggage. We all carry baggage, but we've got to try to make sure we leave the past behind us and not make assumptions of this potential current new relationship based on past relationships, especially if hopefully, like through you, a matchmaker, you should have similarities, things in common that you can talk about, as opposed to randomly meeting somebody at a bar. You have no clue what you may or may not have in common, right?
Yes, plus I also check the ladies to make sure that they're single and they are who they say they are. So that men don't go through the trouble of trying to find out who this person is, whether she's who she's or she's not who she says she is. Maybe she's hiding something. Maybe she's married, but things are very bad and she's in two minds whether to leave that marriage or stay there. To organize dates so that a man can live his own busy life and then can come on a date and enjoy it. Sometimes it's trouble to make a reservation when you want to get to one restaurant, or you have a few options where you want to go to, but you need to make a few phone calls. It takes time, it takes effort, and some men are not prepared to do it. So they come to me, they ask me to help them.
Yeah, so, right. You try to prevent catfishing, right? People who claim they're something or somebody they're not, using a fake picture. You kind of you verify, yeah, this is who they say they are. They're not using some model's picture or some actor's picture.
If this is an actress, this is an actress. If this is a model, this is a model. If this is an athlete, this is an athlete, this is an athlete. wanted to touch the topic of past relationships. It's like, carrying a bag that you should stop carrying. People feel it. When you're not done with your past relationship, on some level, people also sense it. And no matter how you try to enter a new relationship, you cannot. Because people feel it that either you are in love or you're still mad at someone from the past. And you can say whatever you want, people feel it. Even if you don't talk about your past experiences or past relationships, but you can be thinking about it subconsciously and people read it from your biofield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. So you're the supposed expert. What is a good or the best, the safest, so everyone is comfortable first date?
It all depends on two people, on what they want to do. Usually it can be coffee in a coffee shop, or it can be dinner in the restaurant. It depends on whether people have more time or less time, whether they want to wear something casual or something more romantic and elegant, and how much time they're willing to spend. I usually recommend to spend maybe like from 45 minutes to an hour on a first date. It has to be something light, something refreshing, where both people are enjoying each other's company and see whether they want to see each other again or not. A lot of people build sandcastles. This is my future husband. Oh, this is my future wife. No. We're only talking about your second date. It's all about whether you see the person again or not.
Yeah, don't put the cart before the horse. And obviously, a really bad early date is, and I'm going to give the audience a little behind the scenes here. This is going to air for Valentine's around then, 2025, but we're actually recording in October 2024. And I'm like, the TV, unfortunately, is political ad after ad after ad after ad of lies upon lies upon lies, mudslinging at each other. It's like, I'm thinking, but it's a bad early date, like escaping to the movies, right? Because you're secluded, you're away, none of that outside crap. But the same token, early date, you can't talk during the movie to each other.
Going to the movie is a great second date, and then added by dinner, because at dinner you can discuss the movie, you can see what you liked and what you didn't like, and it can actually create a connection. A lot of people make it of going out to dinner all the time, and then they get tired, and they get tired not of the person, but they don't feel any emotions, because you can eat alone, you can eat with your friends, you can eat with your mother, with your brother. So what? You forgot about it.
Yeah, it becomes a monotonous thing. I never really thought about that. That a movie alone is indeed absolutely a bad thing. But like you said, if it's going to be movie and a dinner rather than dinner and a movie, do the movie first. So that way you have that connection at dinner to be able to talk about what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like, what your most favorite genre of movie is, and things like that. Because I go to the movies all the time by myself and often write about it, some not official movie reviewer or movie critic, but at that dinner you could kind of be movie critics, and that tells you something about each other.
Yeah, you can find out about each other a lot. Or you can also go to a bookstore. It may seem a little bit old-fashioned, but it creates emotions, and it can also tell you something about your date and about yourself. And then you can go out to dinner and discuss what books you saw, what you liked, what you disliked. Bookstores are very old, but they create a sense of sentiment. Everything that creates a sense of sentiment, and if both people enjoy doing it, this is what should be done on the date.
Certainly, never ever thought of that. That, as an author myself, if somebody wants to go up and pick up one of my books, that tells them they're probably not somebody you want to be with, right? Kidding, right? Gotta laugh at yourself. If you're not willing to poke fun at yourself, you shouldn't poke fun at anybody else. But seriously, what you're saying, that by what section of books they gravitate to, what genre of books they gravitate to, is a very big indicator to begin with. And then what books, what particular authors are their favorites. Yeah, you could discuss all that after. Who's your favorite author? What's your favorite book? And why? And, what really made that book so endearing to you? And things like that you're alluding to, yes?
And it creates a sense of connection. When I was still in Ukraine, I saw a very sad thing. I saw a couple. They were sitting right next to each other, and they were texting each other. They were sitting next to each other, and they were texting each other. They were not looking into each other's eyes. They were like
yeah, well, if they were both doing it, they're made for each other. The problem is that, because generally if someone is going to break out their phone and start social media posting or texting or whatever, to me, it would seem that it indicates boredom and disinterest. And that is not somebody I would put up with. There would be no other additional dates.
Yeah, because this person is physically on a date, but mentally and spiritually, this person is not. They're somewhere else.
There's a joke there because we were talking about going out to eat, right? So mentally, they're out to lunch. Ba-dum-bum.
Yes. Actually, men and women feel it when somebody is not out here, that they're mentally out to lunch.
I'm glad we could tie that all together because, again, I can never pass on the lame puns and the wordplay like that. How long have you been operating as a matchmaker?
I've been a matchmaker for 13 years.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Joseph M. Leonard, host of ChristiTutionalist, taking a brief moment to thank myarchit.com. Together, we share the Christian and family value of honoring family. myarchit.com helps you do that. Preserving family memories online also, therefore, can be shared online. Think of myArchit like a Noah's Ark for images, audio, video, preserving, honoring your family. Thank you again to the folks over at myarchit.com. So you're not a Johnny come lately. You've been there. You've been doing it a while. So clearly by now, we would certainly hope you know what you're doing. So the next obvious question is then, how many marriages out of all the people you hooked up come out of your service?
There have been close to 10 marriages. They have fallen in love. I believe that love is something that either there is or there is not. If there is not, you cannot force a connection. When there is love, you've got to promote it, you've got to cultivate it, and there is something to work on.
But even if 10 marriages over 13 years actually doesn't sound like a lot, but in the meantime, you're creating, you're bettering yourself so that hopefully you're becoming better marriage material eventually when it comes along. You're not looking to try to force anything. You're
like all the couples that have got married through me are still married. Different people have different objectives while dating. There are some people that want to go out on the first dates all the time, and until they change their minds, there is nothing I can do. If it makes them happy to go out on the first date, I say, hello, my name is this and this, I do this and this to many different people. If they don't get of it, they like, because I will be going out on the first dates until they realize, okay, this is not what I want anymore. I want something stable. I want to meet one person. I want to share all my time with one person. And then they begin to be serious about their search. But until they figure it out.
Yeah. Well, given the way we are in today's society, actually, the more I think about it, 10 marriages over 13 years is really actually not surprising, because there is so much lack of any real commitment out there. And so I get what you're saying is a lot of people just kind of want to go out and have a lot of different casual dates so they have company and people to associate with, but indeed they themselves aren't looking for anything long term.
Or there are people that are looking for long term, but they are not looking for marriage, and they are like, they were married before and they have had some past experiences, and no matter what you say, until they are ready to hear it, they won't. And if their match wants something more serious, this relationship won't last. If they're not ready to get past their trauma, because when you truly like somebody, when you truly love somebody, you want to be with them, and you want to be with them unconditionally, and you definitely want marriage. As soon as you fall in love and you feel that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and if another person is not ready or doesn't see marriage as a potential at all, that this is not the right person for you.
Yeah, and you as a matchmaker is helpful in that you inquire and question and try to learn about them. So you're matching casual daters with other casual daters and people who are indeed looking for something a little more serious with other people who are looking for something a little more serious, as opposed to, again, that random chance that you're going to meet somebody in the same mindset as you out on the streets.
There is a funny story. The latest couple that I've connected, like the guy and the lady used to go to the same bars, to the same restaurants, but they had to meet. They know all the same places. They like all the same places. They like all the same foods. They're really they're really connected. They were really meant for each other. But I had to connect them.
Yeah, that's a very great story about this, because again, yes, I mean, there are 8 billion-ish people on the planet now, so the chances of you running into the right mindset people with at least no one is 100% match. No one is perfect. No one thinks exactly like we do, and if you're looking for that, you're always going to be disappointed. There are always going to be differences between people. If you're expecting 100% agreement on everything, you're a delusional person, right? So, but yeah, to randomly come together with people who are even remotely compatible nowadays with 8 billion people wandering around is probably not realistic, and why indeed matchmakers and dating services seem to be more and more and more popular.
There is a joke in Russian and Ukrainian that there was an ideal woman, and she was looking for an ideal man. And when she found him, it turned out that he was looking for an ideal woman. They didn't connect because they both had their own ideals set.
Right, right. That definition of what is, quote, ideal, unquote. Yeah. And they didn't match, right? There's that terminology and language and kind of wordplay thing, right? Because they can have different values, different meanings from person to person. Unfortunately, it's part of what's going on in the United States that I talk about on this show all the time. People who warp and distort language to kind of fit their own narrative. And we're not talking the same language anymore to be able to be on the same page.
It takes time and effort to be on the same page. Every relationship can be worked on. There are no incompatible. Every relationship has the right and the chance to exist when both people are working on it. It's not about a zodiac sign. It's not about astrology and numerology. It's all about the hard work you're willing to put into a relationship. It's all about the commitment. It's all about your enthusiasm. It's all about your gratitude for having it, even after a few months or 1 year being in a relationship, because a lot of people get into a relationship and then they get lazy. They begin to take it for granted. They begin to neglect their partner. And then when the relationship ends, they say, oh, but this is not what I meant. I wanted something different.
And of course, there are times people can change over time and they can change their mind. And but the same page thing, an obvious joke is the possibility of being on the same page, let alone in the same book, let alone in the same bookstore, while I'm at the movie theater instead of even looking at a book. Right? It's like the joke too about my ship came in, but I was at the airport.
Well, and those people can talk to each other. They can be like soulmates. They can talk to each other, but they may miss each other once because they could be busy with something else. Something else could be on their mind.
Mm-hmm.
The lady may have talked to that man that I introduced even before, but maybe she was busy with something else. Maybe she was thinking about something else, or maybe he was busy with something else. And that's why they didn't even exchange phone numbers.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and have us wrap things up. Like any and every guest I have, we could probably talk for 3 hours or 3 days on all this. So where can people find you?
They can reach me via WhatsApp, 408-571-9552.
Okay, what's that? Now, WhatsApp or what's up?
WhatsApp.
App, A-P-P. Okay, yeah. There's so many apps out there. I want to make sure I get it right. And what was that ID number?
408-571-9552.
Okay, and I will put that in the show notes. So thank you, Julia, whatever your real name really is. I'm not going to attempt it. Tell us again what it is.
Julia?
Oh. Okay, so you're not even going to give us the whole full name again. I don't blame you. It'll be in the show notes, of course. But again, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it because I will really royally screw it up. And at any rate, thank you, Julia, for coming on. I really appreciate you being here to talk about these things.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure and honor to be a guest of yours.
Take care. God bless.
Episodes.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come, but for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, no fancy high production intro or insert, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. The ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, normally in conjunction and corresponding with articles, can normally for the Saturday monologue shows be found at thefordsnews.com, Substack, and find extended show notes, including related links, in the Buzzsprout episode edition of the Transcript.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.